everyone, and welcome. My name is Brianna Santoro, founder of thenakedlabel.com and author of the new book, Get Naked in the Kitchen. And we are getting naked in the kitchen today with some whole foods. I am here with my good friend Jesse Schelew from outtolunchcreations.com. She is one of the fabulous nutritionists who is in this book. And today we're going to be making a really awesome recipe. So you can actually find it on page 84, I think it was, of your book. Yes, sorry, 85. It is called the Crispy Chickpea Kale Salad. And this is absolutely delicious. I am such a fan of kale. It is such a nutritious superfood. I just want to actually tell everybody a little bit about your philosophy on food. Yeah. So you have an awesome philosophy, which is why I wanted to have you in this book, because it's all about whole foods. Tell everybody about it. What do you think about food?
So for me, food is just something that you can use to nourish your body. And I don't fit into any of the typical diets. I don't do just paleo, I don't do just vegan. I focus really on whole foods. So I'm not 100% gluten-free, I do eat animal products, but I do like to get really good quality food. I try to go local, always go organic, especially with my meat, and just things that are really good and nourishing for my body.
Amazing. And that's one of the reasons, as you can see, everybody, why I wanted her in this cookbook, because at the end of the day, it really comes down to eating whole natural foods. And within that space, you can have some fun and some creativity can come into play, and you can find out what really works for you. But like we said, at the end of the day, it is all about whole natural foods. Yes. So getting foods that are in their whole form, and also foods that are in their most natural state. And you mentioned a couple of things in terms of what does that mean, because sometimes people are like, well, what does natural mean? What does that really mean? So you talked about organic. That's a big one. Why do we want to buy organic?
So for organic, a lot of, when you go to fruits and vegetables, they're sprayed with pesticides. And then they're sprayed with fungicides so that they can travel halfway across the world to get here. So when you go organic, they use more natural things. They use fertilizers that are more natural. They're not using all the sprays. And when you stick to local, they're not traveling to get here.
Amazing.
Which is really great.
Yeah, and you also talked about meat. So why do we want to get really good quality meats? Why is that important?
Yeah, so one of the things with meat is that the fat in meat is where a lot of the chemicals are going to be stored. Another thing with meat is that they're constantly giving antibiotics, they're giving growth hormones, and stuff that we just don't need in our bodies. We get so much from the environment that if we can cut down through our food, it can really make a difference.
And I think that's such an interesting point, because whatever we can do, I mean, we're definitely going to be inhaling some sort of smog, you know, especially we live in the city, right? We're going to have some different environmental things that are going to be coming at us. So if we can minimize the amount of toxicity that we're getting from the foods that we're eating and getting things that are in more of their natural state, then that's really going to help us.
And you know, the philosophy is pretty much just shopping like this supermarket contour. You're not going into the aisles getting all the processed food. You're sticking to whole foods, so your vegetables, your grains, stuff like that, not something that comes in a package that has all these ingredients and you don't even know what the heck they are, right?
It's so true. I walk into a grocery store and I just can't believe how many shelves there are these days.
I know.
Right? You know, a lot of times I'll go shopping at the local health food store, at farmers markets, and you can pretty much get everything you need for the week in a very small farmers market or in a really small health food store. And I go into some of these big grocery stores sometimes and they're just massive. There are so many pre-packaged, you know, everything you could imagine is pre-packaged these days. So like you said, what a great tip, everybody. If you stick to the perimeter of the grocery store, then you're going to be getting a lot more of these whole foods that we're talking about. So that's like your fruits and veggies and your, you know, your meats and things of that nature, and less of the processed garbage that's in the middle of the store. Okay, so let's get started. Tell us about what we're going to be making today. Tell us about this salad and why you love it.
Yeah, so we're going to make, this is one of my favorite salads. I say this is the best for people who are kale skeptics. So there's a lot of people out there, they think kale is bitter, it's gross, it's tough, and they don't want to go near it. So this salad is a way to change their mind, because in my opinion, it's one of my favorite salads in the world. I could eat it for days on end and not get tired of it. And it's really great because it has so many flavors. With the kale, we're going to massage our dressing into it, and that's going to help soften it up and take away that bitterness. And then we're going to top it with crispy chickpeas that almost act like a crouton, because they're going to get nice and crunchy. On top of that, we have all these beautiful seeds we're going to add, which are a great boost of protein, and then a lot of really fun warming spices as well.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
This is honestly, I've made this recipe a couple of times in my house and then also for guests that come over, and everybody just loves it. So let's get in. Let's see what we're gonna do today. So we've got some chickpeas here.
Yeah.
Now tell us about the brand that you have chosen to use. So we've got 1 can of chickpeas, and you rinse these first.
We rinse
right?
them first, yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure we do that.
Right.
Now tell us about this brand.
So this is Eat Organic. I mean, the best way to do chickpeas if you have the time is to buy them dry, soak them, and cook them yourself. But all of us are really busy and we don't always have time to do that, or we're running to the grocery store at the last minute. So if you're gonna buy the can, this is a really great brand because they cook their beans with sea vegetables, which helps make them a little bit less magical, a little easier to digest. And they also don't use BPA in their cans, so that's the chemical that's gonna leach into your food.
Great, awesome. So we've got the can of chickpeas.
Yep.
What are we putting in here next?
Okay, so next we're gonna add our seeds. So here we have 3 tablespoons of sesame seeds. These are really good, and they're high in calcium, which a lot of people don't know. So it's a great source of calcium.
Perfect.
We have some sunflower seeds, again, 3 tablespoons.
Awesome.
And next we have pumpkin seeds, another 3 tablespoons.
Now, there are so many colors going on in this bowl. I cannot even imagine. Like,
so pretty.
Isn't this so beautiful? Look at all those colors. Now, tell us about the spices you've chosen to use.
Okay, so we're gonna do cumin. So in there's 1 teaspoon of cumin and garlic powder to add some zing. So there's another teaspoon of garlic powder in there. And then we have some coriander, about 1/2 teaspoon. Paprika, another 1/2 teaspoon. And then we're gonna spice it up a little bit with cayenne pepper. We're only gonna put in 1/4 teaspoon, but if you like a lot of spice, you can add more.
I do. Yeah. I am a fan of spice. When I have people over for dinner, I always have to remember that not everybody likes as spicy
back up
as
a bit,
I do.
yeah.
Yeah. But good thing my husband doesn't mind some spice as well, so
That's
it's
good.
And the last one there?
And then finally, one of my favorite herbs, turmeric, which is so good for detox and is just anti-inflammatory, has all these really amazing properties. And that's about 1/4 teaspoon again.
Perfect.
We'll dump those in.
Dumping them in.
And then we'll finish it off with some fresh ground pepper.
Yummy.
Again, about 1/2 teaspoon. And then finally, we need something to stick it all together.
Okay, and what is your sticking agent of choice?
It's my favorite thing in the world, which is coconut oil.
Yeah!
I'm obsessed with coconut oil. I know, it's so good. So I've melted some here. In the summer, you don't always have to melt it, but today it's a little bit colder. So I like to melt it on the stove, not in the microwave. Right now it's perfect because my stove is ready and preheating for these chickpeas, so I just can put the pot right on there and it just melts without using any extra electricity, which is really cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So we'll just put 3 tablespoons in here.
Now tell us about, because I know how much you love coconut oil.
Do.
We are both big fans of it. So tell me, and everybody else who's watching, tell us why you love coconut oil. What are some of the ways that we can use it both in cooking but also outside of the kitchen?
Yeah, so coconut oil is great. It's a medium chain triglyceride, so it's really easy for your body to break down, and it can use it right away. But it's great to use other places. I use it as my moisturizer, as my lip gloss. I do hair masks with it. And it's so good for your skin because it's antibacterial, it has anti-inflammatory properties, and it just goes on so smooth, and there's no additives, there's no perfumes in there, there's no paraben, there's nothing, none of that weird chemical stuff, right?
Yeah. The ingredients literally are coconut oil. And it smells so good.
It smells so good.
You seriously feel like you're in the tropics, like ready for a pina colada and a hammock and a good book.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, now what do we do?
So we're just gonna stir this up. I
Incredible.
get my hands in everything, so I like to just get dirty here. So just give it a little stir, and then we're just gonna throw it in the oven. So we have our oven set to 400, and we'll put that in there for about 30 minutes. We wanna keep an eye on it. Stir it maybe every 10 minutes, make sure we don't get any little burny bits. And then we'll throw it on top of our salad.
Excellent. So here there's our pan, and now you use a Silpat. Why do we enjoy using Silpats?
I like it because it's reusable. I find sometimes going straight on the pan, it can get really messy, so this makes cleanup super easy, but then you're not throwing something out at the end. You just wash it and you can reuse it. Nothing sticks to it. It's really easy. But parchment paper works really well here too, or you can throw it directly in the pan.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You want to do the honors?
I will. Into the oven we go.
We have all the dressing ingredients set up. We just stirred the chickpeas and they are smelling incredible.
Amazing.
I wish you could all be in the kitchen right now.
So good in here.
All right, what are we gonna put in this dressing, Jesse?
Okay, so the first ingredient we're gonna add is cashews. And we have about 3/4 cup here. And these add a nice thickness to the dressing and again, more protein to your salad as well.
And they give it kind of that creaminess that I love about this dressing. It's just so creamy and delicious.
And there's no dairy in it.
Woo!
Which is really cool.
What next?
And then we're gonna add 2 little garlic cloves for a little bit of spice. And then we'll blend those up in the food processor so it gets nice and finely chopped. All right, that's looking pretty good. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add tahini.
I love tahini.
So good, isn't it?
And we were talking about sesame seeds before, really high in calcium, so that's great.
Yeah, so this is 3/4 cup that's gonna go in here. And then we're gonna add 1/2 cup of water. This just gives it a little bit more liquidness to it. And you can see this is shaping up to be quite a bit of dressing. I have a bit of an obsession. I call myself kind of the sauce boss. I'm very obsessed. So I usually like double sauce my salads. So if this is too much for you, feel free to add half and use the rest as like a dip or something. I get a little bit out of control sometimes.
I need to get you an apron that says the sauce boss.
That'd be awesome.
That's so good.
Miso. So miso is really yummy. It's a fermented soy. That's Flash, good thing you had an apron on. And it adds a really nice, almost like an Asian tinge to the salad, which is fun. Next, we're gonna add one of my favorite ingredients, another one, nutritional yeast. If you haven't had it before, go out and buy it right now. It's so good. It gives it like a cheesy flavor and it's really high in B12, which is so cool because it's hard to get B12 when you're vegetarian and vegan.
Yes, yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I was just the other day talking about how awesome it is and like making cheese sauces and things, especially if you're not having dairy, you can make, you know, cheese sauces with nutritional yeast. It's incredible.
So good. So we're gonna add 2 teaspoons in here. Next, we're gonna add some tamari, which is kind of like a gluten-free soy sauce. Really like it. So we're gonna add 2 teaspoons. And then we have some apple cider vinegar. This is really great. You can drink this in the morning and it like helps cleanse your body and alkalize your body. It's really cool.
Perfect. And it also helps too, one of the things I love about apple cider vinegar is it's really helpful for getting your stomach acids going as well. So sometimes people think they have high stomach acid, but really they've got low stomach acid, and having a bit of apple cider vinegar really helps to get those juices flowing so we can digest our food.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
And it's the only vinegar you can have when you're doing a candida cleanse, which is pretty cool.
Perfect.
So we're doing 1 teaspoon of that.
Love it.
Then we get some lemon juice to add some more acid. So we just took a 1/2 lemon and squeezed it here. We're doing about a tablespoon. There we go. And again, the extra is great. You can add to water like you would the apple cider vinegar. It's great for detoxing. And
I love it in the morning. Really gets those tubes pumping.
So good, yeah. Get you going. Better than coffee will.
Exactly.
For sure. And then we'll just add some pepper to taste. I think we're gonna put about one teaspoon in here. Yeah. So we're gonna do 3 tablespoons in here. So we're gonna put it back in the Cuisinart, and it's good. Turn it on, and we're gonna blend it until it's nice and smooth.
Yum! All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the kale ready so that we can put all this together. Now what are we gonna do with this dressing?
Now this is the fun part. I like to massage it in with my hands. It's way more fun that way.
I love to be massaged, and so does Kale.
Yeah, it actually helps. It makes it less bitter and breaks it down a bit so it's not as tough.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Let me massage this
Yes.
boy.
So we'll dump this in. So again, you know, we'll use our hands. If you have guests, maybe you want to use a serving utensil, but we're friends here.
We are friends here.
And then we'll add some of these lovely crispy chickpeas. They're gonna kind of be like a crouton. And I don't like to mix them into the salad because the moisture of the salad tends to get them like a little bit soggy. So if you're making this ahead of time for something, you can make these first and then store them in like an airtight container on the counter and then add the rest later. So there's our salad, and then we'll add a couple slices of avocado. And the best part about the avocado too is it's that healthy fat that's going to help us absorb all the fat-soluble vitamins in this meal too.
Oh my gosh. This is so exciting.
So good. I love the crunch of the chickpeas.
So good. It really is like croutons.
I know, right?
They're so delicious. And the spices, like that combination of spices, is so good.
And this is gluten-free, it's vegan, it's full of protein.
So thank you so much. Thank you to Jesse for taking the time to make this amazing salad. Again, it's on page 85 of Get Naked in the Kitchen. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you later.
Bye.